Welcome to the Power of Your Voice podcast with your host, Johnny Gorky. You have the power to overcome challenges and fears. Let my voice and the voice of many others show you how to transform these challenges into opportunities. To learn more about future podcasts and read episode show notes, check out my website at www.thepowerofyourvoice.com.
This is episode 6, and today's guest is E. Lamar Smith, who is a social entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and a 2019 Walden University Social Impact Management DBA candidate. Residing in South Atlanta, Georgia, E. Lamar is inspiring urban business owners to effect positive social change by creating value, generating momentum, and maximizing the moment. He strongly believes that everyone in life can win and win all the time, and does this because he focuses on winning. He believes that when people change their way of thinking about themselves, their world changes too. You can overcome fear by changing your mindset and breaking out of that self-limited box and transform into a beautiful butterfly. So right now I have Mr. Eric Smith. He's working on getting his doctorate, which is so amazing. So his big thing is, all I do is win. Now, Eric, how can a person always win? I love this. How can we win? How can we win every single day in everything that we do, man?
Well, Johnny, first of all, I'm excited about being here with you. This has been a work in progress, and I'm really supercharged about what I'm going to be able to share with people today. Looking forward to changing some lives. And all I do is win is something I came up with because it's all about a mindset. If you set your mindset to believe that no matter what obstacles you face, and no matter what challenges that come your way, that in every situation, at every moment, is still a winning opportunity if you can just see it. A lot of people have difficulty recognizing that because they see the obstacles as the greatest thing in their life. But it's all about perception, changing your mindset, and getting to a place that no matter what happens, all I do is win.
Yeah, but how do you always win? Don't you sometimes have to lose?
Well, no. So if you're looking for reasons to lose, you'll never really focus on the reasons to win. And for me to win doesn't necessarily mean that you have to lose as well. There's a thing that has been going on here lately in the winners and the losers, and people are trying to decide what side that people land on. But I believe that you can always land on the side of win. Just because there's a setback or things didn't turn out the way exactly like you wanted them to, who has their situations always turn out the way they exactly want them to? So yes, there's going to be some good. Yes, there's going to be some bad. Yes, there's going to be some ugly. But the mindset is, even in losing, I win. Because if you're not losing, you're learning. And so if I do have a setback, it's not that I never have challenges, but I always look at any type of setback as a learning opportunity and not a losing opportunity. That's how I always win.
Exactly. Well, sometimes people think, I really want to be very successful. I want to be very rich, but I don't want to become rich, because if I become rich, then that means I need to take away from other people, and other people are going to be now poor. But what people don't realize is, if you become extremely wealthy and you have all this money, you can employ other people, giving other people's opportunities in your life. So it really is a win-win for everybody, right?
It is. So, your success and what you measure that success by is not necessarily my yardstick or what I measure success by. So where you may look at me and say, hey, this guy is not a millionaire, this guy is not going out employing people, he's not really a winner. My standpoint is, hey, I woke up this morning, I have breath in my body. And so I did win over death. And so for no other reason for that day is I'm living at this moment, and therefore I've won. And if you feel that you have to become rich to help people, you may never go about helping people. But I think that the enjoyment comes in is, I may not have it all right now, but if I start practicing that winning mentality right now. When I get there, it won't be something that's made up. It'll be something from a genuine place, because I was doing it when I was making only $20, and now I have $2 million. It's the same mindset. So it doesn't matter, if you're a giver, you're a giver, no matter how much money you have.
Yeah, well, and that's something that sometimes people don't realize. It's like, if you're rich and you're an amazing person, you're just going to become more amazing. If you're a person who becomes greedy, you're just going to be more greedier. And that's one of the things that stops people from being successful, because they're really wonderful, amazing people, and they want to give, but they think that the money is going to change them, when really it's not going to. It's just going to make them much more of a giving person.
Well, think of it this way. The rain is going to come down no matter what, right? And whenever the rain does fall, things are going to grow. Whether you're a flower or whether you're a weed, when the rain comes down, you're going to grow. And so what was ever on the inside of you is going to come out naturally. So if you were thorns and thistles before the rain started falling, once that rain starts falling and you begin to grow, those thorns and thistles are going to grow. But if you were a flower on the inside, when that rain comes down, you're just going to blossom that much more. I don't know what's on the inside of you, and you don't know what's on the inside of me, but the rain is the equalizer, because it rains on the good people and it rains on the bad people. But what are you going to do when that rain comes down? That's what it comes down to. For me, Johnny, it's knowing that I'm not having a winning season. I'm not looking for a winning season. We're in the time of the Super Bowl, and people are talking about seasons that the teams have gone through. But if you only focus on a winning season, then when that season is over, it's not always spring, it's not always summer, it's not always winter, it's not always fall. So if you're living your life just looking for a season, then you know that those seasons are going to change. But what's better for me, Johnny, is having a winning lifestyle. That no matter if it's the winter, spring, summer, fall, I'm always going to win, no matter what. That's what we need to develop. And not just looking for, when my ship comes in. No. What are you doing to prepare yourself for that time? Are you just going to wait till that big break happens, that big opportunity comes? Or are you going to enjoy the moment right now? Are you going to maximize your potential right now and be the best you right now? So that no matter what comes, if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out, you still won, because it's not wasted time. You have a lifestyle of winning, not just a season. And some people can only feel like, well, I can only flourish when things are going great. If things are going great, then I'm happy. If things are going bad, then I'm sad. That's seasonal. And we don't want to live that way.
Oh, no, exactly. Well, and that's the thing. It's like when you're in college, you write in the paper, you don't really always put your whole heart in it, and you're like, okay, you throw it away, you do another one and another one and another one. Before you know, it's great. But the thing is, like, when you're in college, it's like when you're a successful student, your professors become more successful and they become better at it. It's all about feedback. It's like, how can we be better as a team? It's not just about the individual student, but it's also about the professor. Because I know it when I was a student, it's like the better I did, the better the professors were doing. And then my classmates, they became better as well. It's like everyone can really win in the entire classroom. Really, really can.
Exactly. Because it's the trickle down effect, and it's the trickle up effect. You can set the atmosphere, the tone of what you want to gain in it. The chairs show up in that classroom every day. The desks show up in that classroom every day, but they're not there to grow. They're just there. But when you introduce people, the human element into that, that's what makes it the class. That makes it more exciting, and that's where the real opportunity is. Not just being in the class, but what are you doing to affect the change in the class? So the more that you are able to, I put it this way, because I do some teaching, it's like the more the students pull on me, the more that I'm willing to pour out. If the moment the student stops drawing, then the teacher stops pouring. So it's a give and take. The more that you see someone is interested in what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish, the greater you're going to challenge yourself to be the best at it. You're going to come up to their level of expectation or even exceed it. But if you're in that environment and no one is paying attention, no one is pulling on you, no one is recognizing you, then you may not get the full maximum capacity out of that classroom. And so it's all about your mindset. Am I coming to just learn? No, I'm coming to participate. I'm coming to create synergy in this coming together of the minds, and create some element of unity, whereas you're being blessed and your strength being strengthened and you're growing, and then it's multiplying for the people that are around us, and it's kind of contagious.
Oh, exactly. Well, and that's the thing. A lot of times as students, we go in the classroom and thinking, well, I'm here to learn, and don't always realize, what, the professors are learning a lot too.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. You can have the same professor, and in the classroom, and people will get something different from what is being taught from the same professor in the same room, because some people are actively engaged, they're actively thinking, they're actively learning, they're actively absorbing, and some people are just there. Growing up, I heard this term, that there were three types of people. It was those that are in the game, those that are watching the game, and those that don't even know the game is on. That same thing is going on today. There are people that are in the game. They're actually out on the field. They're actively engaged in getting hit and being tugged and being thrown and catching and fumbling and running. They're actively in there. And then there's people on the sideline like you and me. We're going to sit back and we're watch. If I was out there, I'd be doing this. If I was out there, I'd be doing that. We're yelling at the television, or we're sitting in the stands. We're yelling, but we're spectating. But we're not actively on the game. And then there's those that don't even know the game is on. I heard somebody today, I won't even say who it is. Man, I didn't even know the Super Bowl was on until I went to the store and said 6 more hours to the game. But that's how people are. But I found that for myself is that if I'm always winning, again, doesn't mean that you're losing, but it's all in my perspective of what I come into that situation with.
Yeah, well, and talking about Super Bowl, it's like, you might have somebody who doesn't even realize Super Bowl's on, but we can envision them and like, oh my gosh, you got to watch this game. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And they're like, wow, I got to be a part of it. They don't know anything about football. And I'm actually one of them. But because it's so exciting, they want to be a part of it, because everybody deep down inside, they want to be a part of something that's really big, something that's even bigger than they are,
I wholeheartedly agree, but that's the spice of life, that makes life worth living, it's quieting the doubting voices about ourselves that we can't do it, quieting those voices that say you can't make it, that you're not strong enough or you're not good enough. It's fighting those doubting voices that say, you're the wrong gender, you're the wrong color, you grew up in the wrong city, and talking back. When doubt talks to you, you got to talk back. You can't just take it. When fear talks to you, it's a voice. You have to talk back to it. Hey, I'm not going to be a fear. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be in doubt. In this situation, yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm not saying that life is easy. Yeah, people have faced some obstacles. Yes, and it's good to acknowledge those. But I think it's even better to acknowledge that you're still here. You still have the opportunity to win if you just choose to do it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like people have all these dreams, and those dreams never become reality because they're so scared to take action. Like, to be completely honest, like this podcast, I used to stutter severely. I never thought, like, 5-6 months ago I would ever start a podcast. But ever since I started, people are like, oh my gosh, dude, this is so incredible that you're doing this. And that's the thing. It's like fear prevents people from doing things. It's really, you can really do almost anything that you want. That doesn't mean you can be a brain surgeon and whatnot, but people can literally do a lot of things. But because of the fear that they put in their head, they don't do those things, which, this world needs more podcasts. This world needs more leaders. We need a lot of things, instead of just looking at it from the sideline, like, wow, wouldn't it be great if people would help homeless? We can be those people that are literally helping the homeless people,
Yes, exactly. It is, the fact of the matter is we were all made to be great, but it's our thought patterns, and our thought processes that have gotten us to where we are, gotten us the results that we have. This podcast wasn't a reality as long as it remained just a dream. In order to dream, you have to be asleep.
Yeah.
When you got woke, when you started taking action, that's when this dream of yours became a reality. And so it's the same thing. It's changing your process from not just dreaming that you can do it, but taking those steps. And winning doesn't have to necessarily be on a large scale. Start small. Start where you are. I don't know the steps and the processes that you went through a podcast, but you had to start somewhere. It started with that first listener.
Yes.
that first listener. Now, if you were waiting for 10,000 listeners, I don't know how many people that you had listening your first day, you probably never would have started. It never would have been successful, but you had to start with that first one. And that's the biggest step that most people will ever take, is taking that first step. That's what's going to make this podcast large, because you took the step. It didn't just stay a dream.
Well, and that's a big point, because like, some people like, well, I want to start a podcast, but I need 10,000 viewers, or I need 10,000 listeners. And initially you're not going to get that the first day. That's not even being realistic, but eventually it will come. That's why it's consistency, and that's the thing. People are so fearful about doing something, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get this, I'm not going to get that they never even start,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read this interesting book called The Art of Start. And
Great title.
It was a great title. It's a great book. But the author was just talking about is just beginning where you are, not trying to imitate, not trying to duplicate, not trying to replicate, but being the authentic you where you are. So you have a testimony. Your life is the testimony that is going to change lives. Where you are and what you had to go through, you're battle tested. You've gone through the fire. You've gone through those things that have made you uniquely you. And if you start with that, that's the story that people are looking for. They're not looking for someone else's voice. I read somewhere before that, are you a voice or are you the echo?
I like that.
Are you the voice or are you the echo? Are you standing on the mountain saying, hey, hey, hey? Are you the one down there, or are you the initial one that's opening your mouth and saying something? And I want to be a voice, Johnny. And I believe, that is what positions us to step out. So taking that dream and making it a reality from the start is taking that first step. That first step differentiates people, differentiates you from everyone else in the crowd. Because a lot of people talk about it. One day I will do this. One day I will be this. One day I will have this. I think it was Dr. Miles Monroe that said, one of the wealthiest places on earth is the graveyard, because people die every day with their dreams that never become a reality.
Wow.
Because they were always waiting for one day to come. And that one day never came because they were afraid to take the action today.
Man, that's powerful.
Making that decision today, Johnny, is what makes you a winner.
Wow. And by the way, you do have a voice. You're on the Power of Your Voice podcast. So I want to ask you a question. You are worth it. So explain to people who are listening to this, why are we worth it?
Growing up, I had, it wasn't the best situations for me. And there was a period in my life where I felt like I was a throwaway, a cast out, that I was undeserving of anyone's love, affection, anyone's attention. Felt like, I was the lowest of the lowest, the dirtiest of the dirtiest. And sometimes life can back you in a corner and it can make you feel that way. Life situations can just beat you down and you just feel worthless. One day, a good friend of mine, been a friend over 20 years, he said, Eric, stop trying to be and just be. So stop trying to be and just be. And when I changed my mindset to just be who I am, that's when I finally realized that I am worth it.
Yes.
That I am worth, I'm worth so much more than I ever imagined, but I had to find that self-worth inside of me first. And it couldn't come from external. It had to be an internal thing, because you could say, hey, you're doing a great job. But if I don't feel that on the inside of me, if I don't recognize that truth about myself, then your words are really falling on how, are just air. They're just a vapor. They're here one moment and disappears the next. So that change had to come from the inside out. And that's what it has to be. You are worth it is saying that no matter what has happened, in order for something to happen, it has to come from outside. No matter what has happened outside of me, it cannot change the core of what's inside of me.
How are you able to overcome that?
It took trial and error. It was a process. It wasn't something that just happened instantaneous. but it was step by step, moment by moment. It was investing instead of trying to please other people, trying
Yeah,
to please.
because one of the things is people don't realize about from the age of 0 to 8, that's where subconsciously a lot of these things happen. So it's like, even think about my own childhood. It's like, you ask your parents, hey, can I have this? Sorry, we can't afford it. We can't buy that for you. We can't buy that. And I'm sorry, we would love to buy that, but we can't buy that for you. And it's like $1 or $2. It's not even a lot of money. What people don't understand is subconsciously, as we grow up, as we become adults, we might start buying stuff. We buy all these expensive things because our entire life we always thought we weren't worth it, and we're buying things to replace that worthiness. So it's amazing that you were able to overcome that, just like I have for myself. It's like, you know what? Some people don't go to college because they're like, I can't afford $50,000. It's like, you know what? You can get student loan. There's all kinds of possibilities. You are worth going to school. You are worth so much, so much. People really, really are. They just don't realize it.
They don't. And Johnny, unfortunately, people take more stock in what other people think about them. They elevate the opinions of men, the opinions of others greater than their opinion of themselves. And when you elevate someone else's opinion about you greater than yourself, you'll always feel like you're worthless.
Yes.
You'll always feel like you're on the bottom or you're undeserving. And so you have to flip that thing. What I feel about myself, what I think about myself, what I'm doing for myself, I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it to please you. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because it's what I want to do. And that's finding your voice. Just like finding that voice on the inside that says, hey, you're more than your degree. You're more than your poverty. You're more than your socioeconomical class. You're more than your disability. You're more than those things. You're worth it. You're alive. And we have this opportunity from 0 to 120, some of us, from age 0 to 120, to maximize each day, knowing that that we're worth it. We have to starve our doubts. And we have to feed our faith. We have to feed our inner voice. We have to starve those things that tell us, you're never going to be any good. You're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to be successful. And we have to starve those things that force us to go into debt to try to get things which are external again, to try to make us feel good about ourselves, which should come from the inside, internal.
Exactly. Well, and some things that people might not always realize too. It's like, say, for example, you want to make $1 million. If you don't change your mindset up in here, one day you will make $1 million, but deep down inside, you're still going to be the exact same person.
Yeah, you are. You are. We hear it all the time, countless stories, these instant millionaires who win the lotto and 3-5 years later, they're broke.
Exactly.
I mean, they had more money than they could ever spend in a whole lifetime. Because for the most part they still have that emptiness, that void. Yeah, they bought all these things. But if they had a poverty or poor mentality going into it, and they haven't changed their thought process, changed their mind, if they haven't seen themselves as a winner, and start changing the course of how their thoughts can change the course of their life, then they'll end up poor again. And we see that happen constantly, even with athletes. They sound these multi-million-dollar contracts, but if they haven't changed their mindset, their concept, their perception about money and money management, and setting aside gratitude for now so that you'll be able to enjoy the things later in life. If you chase that instantaneous gratification, then when those millions come in, you'll spend it all because we want it now. We want it microwave, instant. Internet fast. We want it now.
That's so very true. So speaking of mindsets, how do you change your mindset?
Well, I'm not a psychologist, but for me, it's positive affirmations. Instead of saying I'm going to such a, start saying I am that right now. Instead of saying one day I'm going to be a millionaire, I changed that to I'm a millionaire now. I'm just in between my blessings, but I'm a millionaire now.
Yes.
It's those positive affirmations. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. There's no two identical people like me. I have twin boys. the fraternal twins. They have similar characteristics. They do a lot of things the same, but they're still different. They're born at the same time, or 1 minute they fight all the time, 1 minute apart. but they're still not the same. And so each of us is unique. And so I talk to myself about it. Hey, today I'm going to go out and win. Today I'm going to overcome every obstacle that comes my way. I'm recognizing that there's going to be some challenges, but I'm already setting my mindset up of how I'm going to respond when those obstacles come. I'm going to overcome every challenge that comes my way. I may shed a tear. I may walk away with a black eye, but I am going to get up. I'm going to come back fighting again. And it's telling yourself that. We believe doubt all the time. Why not believe the good things about the positive thinking about yourself? You have all these things that say, don't start. Okay, well, how about there has to be an opposite to that, right? The opposite has to be true. Start. I don't have enough money. Okay, we'll partner with somebody. My credit isn't good. Okay, we'll partner with somebody.
Who has better credit? Yes.
I'm not good at athlete. Okay, find a coach. I grew up on the wrong side of the neighborhood. Okay, go on the internet and learn about what they're doing on the good side.
Yes.
Yes. I will eliminate every obstacle that presents itself to me.
Yeah, well, the big thing is changing your mindset in a way, people don't realize how powerful the words are. Like when you say I am versus trying, like you have two sons. Like, I'm going to try to be a good father. I'm going to try to be a good husband. I'm going to try to go to work today and be on time. I'm going to try to do a good job today. I mean, come on, really?
Yeah, really?
It's like, no, I am a good father. I am an amazing husband. I am amazing friend. I am interviewing you right now with the podcast instead of versus, you know what, I'm going to try to interview you. It's different.
There is a difference. There is a big difference. I mean, you really hit it. Changes your words are powerful, and just one slight of a word, removing a word, saying a word a different context can mean a world of difference.
Yes.
I think I can is not the same as I can.
Yes.
Just like you pointed out, I think I can mean maybe I think I can't as well. But if you approach it where I can do this, I think you'll have a different outcome, for yourself. Look, I'm telling you, I don't wake up, feeling like I'm on top of the world every day. You'd probably lock me away if you thought that this guy must be loony or crazy. That's not the reality. But I can frame my world for that day and not allow the distractions of the world to take me off of my journey. I can do that. I can't change you. I can't change the things around me, but I can change the way that I respond to them.
Exactly.
When they do present themselves. And if I focus on me, and doing what I know to be right and making the moves that are going to benefit me in the long run, if I spend my energy doing that, man, I don't have time to be distracted by what you're doing.
Yeah, well, the amazing thing is we all have choices. Like literally, you can wake up every single day and be happy. You really can be. People don't realize that. It's like, it's a choice. It's like, you wake up in the morning, the weather's horrible, but you know what? You can still be happy.
Be happy. We woke up today. I don't know where some of your listeners are. We woke up with rain today. Yeah. And people like, rain, who wants the rain? But I want the rain. When it rains, I know that something's about to grow.
Yes.
I know that something's about to flourish, and I'm excited about the rain. And people talk about, well, it's snowing where I am. Well, I'm glad about the snow. You know why? Because we need a time for those seeds to soften up.
Yes, we do.
And so it's the pressure of the snow and the coldness, the frigidness. So when the rain comes down, it's so the seed is so frigid that when it starts to thaw, it starts to break away that shell, and now that plant on the inside can bust through the ground. People don't like the fall when things start dying off and changing color, but I love the fall. Man, those beautiful colors.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking that this is the time, the season where I'm bringing in my harvest. And so I love the fall. You
Well,
know,
that's yeah, and that's the thing. It's like Mother Nature's just really doing what it's always done. It's done this millions and millions, billions of years ago.
yeah, yes. And so if we can actually frame our world with that same mindset, and that's why I said, a little earlier, that you can't just say I have a season. It's a lifestyle, and the lifestyle may include seasons, but I'm not letting the seasons deter me that I'm having, a bad day. It rains, so I'm having a bad day. No, I'm having a great day.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. It's like I was just thinking about this now. It's like the earth is constantly always changing.
Yeah.
Seasons always changing, raining, sunning, all these different things. And guess what? We can change constantly too.
Yes, we
That's a
can.
beautiful thing. Change is actually a good thing.
It is. It is. We who wants something that's going to stay the same? We don't want our money to stay the same.
No.
We don't want our living conditions to stay the same. So we should also feel the same way. We don't want our mindset to stay the same.
Yeah, well, one of the coaches I'm working with, he's literally one of the best, Michael Stresner. He made a really good point. This has to do with change too, like mindset. It's like you look in your wallet and maybe there's no money, but guess what? That means there's a lot of room for a lot of money.
Yes, indeed. A lot
Yeah.
of room. Yes. Yes.
And sometimes
I
people
like
forget
that.
that. It's like, wow, I don't have any money. Well, that's a good thing. That means there's a lot of room for money.
There is.
You just have to flip it. So one of the things I want to talk to you too is becoming what you believe. How do you become what you believe? Because that's the thing. People always believe, wow, I believe I can go to school, become a doctor. I believe I can be a motivational speaker. How do you become what you believe?
Well, I think that one of the ways is that you actually manifest that is reversing it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, not becoming what you don't believe. The default is just going through life existing and just letting whatever happens. But if you live on purpose, if you live with the end in mind, and so to make it a little bit more practical, if I dream that I want something, say that I want to write a book within the next 30 days. That's my dream, to write a book in the next 30 days. Well, then, in order to make that dream a reality, I have to set a goal. I have to set a goal, and goals are my plans and of the steps that it's going to take to bring to pass what I believe. And what I believe is that that book's going to be written in 30 days. But the process in between that book manifesting and the dream of writing the book are the steps and the journey that is the days between that. And so that is how you become what you believe, is not just wishing it. It's taking, actively engaging and taking the necessary steps to get to it with the end in mind. So it's, I don't care if they make me work overtime. I don't care if I have to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning writing. I'm going to finish the book in 30 days. And so it's having a determination to not quit. It's having a determination to say that even though I might have detours, even though I may be starting out going one way and I have to turn left or turn right because there may be obstacles in the road and that I didn't foresee, I'm still going to remain focused and committed with my very being to get to that goal. And that is how you become what you believe. It's not just going to happen by saying, "Oh, hey, I believe." That's passive. That's inactive. You have to put some works to what your mouth is confessing about yourself in order for it to come to pass. You have to put some action to it. And those action plans are going to determine if you really believed in what you said, or was it a fantasy? So for instance, people, I decided that I wanted to become a doctor. Not a medical doctor, but a doctor of business. And because I'm planning to do some consulting work and some motivational speaking around that, really heavy into sustainability. And so that is that I believe that I can affect positive social change. But in order for me to do that, I have to be willing to sacrifice and to take some steps in between that. until my very fiber begins to ooze, until my pores start to open up to the fact that I am that right now. If I don't see myself as that right now, then when the obstacles come my way, it'll waver me, it could shake me, it could deter me, and I may be easily shaken. But if I see myself as that right now, which goes back to what we're talking about, all I do is win. If I see myself as a winner right now, then
Yes.
I actively become what I believe. If I see myself as a loser, there's no way that I can win.
You're right, man.
Because
That's
I'm
so
going to
absolutely
doubt
right.
it. I'm going to doubt myself. I'm going to doubt, oh man, this happened to me. So, well, I guess I'm not a winner. All these bad things happen. Well, I guess I'm not a winner. You've already talked yourself out of your belief.
Exactly.
The chair that we're sitting in, somebody had to dream that up, but they didn't know that it would actually support a body until a body sat in it.
Yes.
The person didn't know that it was going to support something until something actually sat in it. And now that's the same way about our dreams, our goals, our aspirations. Until you actually do it, until you actually see it for yourself where you are, you can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Steve Jobs when he invented the iPhone. There was nothing like iPhone. It didn't even exist. Nothing. Someone had to have the vision, but then you don't just stop at the vision. Wow, this is a great idea. He actually implemented it and he created it. Now, he didn't do it all by himself, but he had the right people who saw the same vision that he had.
Yes. And what if he had quit? What if he had quit while he was in the garage? What if he had quit? What if he had quit when he got fired, from a company that he started? What if he quit? We said, hey, I guess that was a great run while it lasted. Let me just give up. He was persistent. He was consistent, and he knew that he was onto something that was going to change the world. And now no one can do anything without a cell phone. I mean, if you lose your cell phone, it's like losing a vital part of you.
Exactly. It can
That's
do
how much
everything pretty much.
impact his persistence and his consistency paid off because he believed he was onto something. What if you and I did the same thing?
Well, and that's the whole thing. It's about like the vision. If you ask anybody who's graduated from college, who went to college, and they did graduate, did you see yourself literally walking across the stage and I'm handing you a degree in that, that nice little binder, even though it's an empty sheet of piece of paper? You could see yourself. Like I graduated school, I could literally see myself walking across the stage and getting that degree, and I got it. Which is so beautiful. But if you can't see yourself being something, unfortunately, it's never going to happen. You have to visualize it. You have to want it so much with that burning desire that you can vividly see yourself getting it.
See, people don't like to sacrifice, John. They don't want the delayed gratification or the sacrifice. They don't want to go through anything. They want it to be just cookie cutter, clean, come to you straight in a bow and say, here's the thing that you desired, and here it is, perfect package. But it doesn't happen that way.
No.
Well, maybe for some people it might, but they were born into it. But for the average guy, average person, it doesn't happen that way. And so you have to make sure that your beliefs are firm in something. For me, it wouldn't make sense for me to say, hey, I believe I'm going to be an astronaut, and I don't go to school and study about physics and astrology and astronomy and gravity and things of that nature. It would make no sense for me to believe that I'm going to be one if I'm not actually going to do the work that it's going to take to become one.
Yeah. Well, like what you were talking about earlier is like books. Like there are a lot of people in their entire life, they dreamed about writing a book, but they never start because maybe they get stuck in the details. They read like 100 books about how to write your own book, but they don't initially even sit in front of the computer and start with page one. They're so focused on, okay, let me focus on the marketing and let me focus on who's going to publish my book, but they don't even start chapter one,
Exactly. And there's so many different routes. There's self-publishing. There's going with a actual publisher. There are online, writing online. There are so many free templates that are out there for writing a book, so we put up all these obstacles. Oh, I don't have time to write a book, or, well, I'm not smart enough to write a book, or, I don't have enough money to publish. We put up all these obstacles, and we have more faith, more confidence in the obstacles than we do to pick up that pencil or to type on the computer. We have more faith in that. And I think that, we just have to determine that we're not going to be distracted.
No, well, that's the thing. You can literally do almost anything that you want to do. You just have to start, take action. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is like overcoming your fears. So, you mentioned one of your articles, taking yourself out of the box and going for it. How do you, because that's the thing, some of us, you go to work, you work a 9 to 5, and you always want to do something. How do you just break out of the box and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to live like this anymore. I want to start my own company. I want to write a book. I want to do this. I want to do that. How do you break out of that box of being comfortable?
Wow. At what point did the caterpillar decide that it wanted to be a butterfly? At what point does it cease from being that caterpillar and it accepts the reality that, hey, there's a butterfly on the inside of me? At what point does it say, I'm tired of crawling on the ground? It's time for me to go into my cocoon.
I love it.
And come out to be a butterfly. There's some point, there's some pivotal point in that life where you have to, where it ceases from being one thing and it now is going into another. When we all have to come to a point where we just say that, what I want out of my life is greater than what I have, and I'm willing to sacrifice and set aside those things that I deem important right now for something greater down the road. So breaking out of the box can be as simple as, where I would spend time sleeping 8 hours, for the next month, I'm going to spend it doing 6. And I'm going to take those 2 hours and I'm going to work on my vision. I'm going to work on my craft. I'm going to work on my business. I'm going to work on my book. I'm going to work on my music. I'm going to work on my art. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to sacrifice 2 hours of precious time. I heard one of my mentors said, sleep is overrated. It says overrated because, what he was actually saying is that you have time to sleep later. It's time to work now. And no one is going to believe in your dream greater than you are. And if you're not willing, why should someone spend their money for your product or on your idea, if you're not willing to sacrifice for it now?
Exactly.
You have to be willing to say, hey, it's more important than going to the ball game. It's more important than hanging out with my friends. It's more important, than doing this or that. Because if I can break out of that, if I can do this one thing, then everything else is going to fall in place for me. You're working 9 to 5, and you're building someone else's dream. You're putting money in their pocket, and yes, you're getting something on the side, but it's not really life changing for you. So how do you change that vicious cycle?
Exactly.
Well, instead of talking on the phone and listening to music on your way from your job to your home, use that time to educate yourself. Put on a podcast, learn about your craft. Dictate the book. Your phone has a memo on it. Put it in the car and start dictating your book while you're writing, instead of waiting till you get home. And then when you get home, then type out what you dictated on the phone. You have time. It's just, are you willing to find it? It's not going to just present itself. Are you willing to look for it? I write, I do so much, Johnny, but one of the things I do almost every day is I write lyrics to songs.
Oh, wow.
I'll get a song in a minute, and whether I'm in the shower, whether I'm on my way to work, I'll just press that memo on my phone and I'll record it, and then I'll go back and listen to it and refine it. Because I don't have we only have 24 hours.
But everybody has 24 hours.
That's all we have. And so what are you going to do? If you're at work 8 hours, okay, that leaves you how many hours? That leaves you 16. You're driving back and forth to work. You're down now to 14. You have to spend some time with the family. Then you have to sleep. we all have the same amount of time, but everybody's not using their time the same way.
Wisely, yes.
That's how you break out the box. Is how can I use this 24 hours?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, a lot of people don't realize, like, everyone that's alive right now has a purpose. And I guarantee you, no one's purpose was to go to school, get this job working 9 to 5, work there at some company for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, retire, and then 2, 3 years later, die. That's not our purpose. Our purpose, we all have a purpose, and people just need to find what that purpose is.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's purpose is to be this amazing, loving, caring person and to give, give, give. It's just, some people, they just get stuck. You get stuck in being comfortable in that little box, but that's not really living the life.
It's not. So there's a body of water called it's just, let me say it this way. You talked about being stuck, and being stuck sometimes could be stagnant. A stagnant area in your life is where you're not going forward, you're not going backwards. But if you stay stuck in that situation too long, and thinking in terms of water, if there's no outflow where there's an inflow, then the body of water will start to stink, and it'll create a great place for mosquitoes to start laying larvae.
Oh, yes.
And moss will grow in the water, and fungus will grow around there because there's no outflow for that inflow. And that inflow is your dream. It's that thing that's on the inside of you. We're talking about the box, but if you're not putting out, if you're not launching forth, if you're not giving away, if you're not putting it forth, your life will lose meaning and purpose. And again, you don't have to talk to the masses, but it all begins with the one. I mean, if you can just talk to one, that would change. So, okay, you say you design something, you're looking for the big Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or who Shark Tank, and I'm not going to let anybody see my thing until I go on Shark Tank. And you waste all these weeks, months, and years, and no one gets to see that thing that you have, because you're waiting for this big moment to occur, instead of just saying, hey, I've designed this thing, let me put it out there. See, you all tell me what you think about it. Man, hey, Eric, that's a great thing. Man, that song sounds good. Man, I really enjoyed reading the book. Man, I enjoyed your talk. Then you can get that feedback now instead of waiting till later. And then when your big moment comes, you're ready for it. But if you're not willing to do the little things right today that others won't do, you're not going to be able to enjoy the things tomorrow that others won't have.
Exactly.
Because you're not willing to do the little things today. The little things matter. That's how you break out the box.
Yeah, well, and the beautiful thing about feedback isn't necessarily negative or positive. It's something that we can use to become better at whatever we're doing. So if someone says something that you might not like, it makes you realize, you know what? If I'm coming off this way, this is a way I can improve this.
Yes. And who doesn't want to be improved?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what life is all about. Oh, yeah. So one thing I want to talk about too, finding your passion. How do you find your passion? Because that's one of the things that you talk about.
Finding your passion. What is that thing that just makes your heart skip a beat and race every time you think about it? What is that thing that you'll go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning thinking about doing? I think that that's a real simple way of finding what you're passionate about. If it's not causing you to lose sleep, if it's not causing any angst in you to get out there and do it, probably too passionate about it. But if it's something that comes up in every conversation, I mean, not even on purpose, if you're just talking with friends and loved ones and that thing just bubbles up, then you know that that's your passion. That's something that you were meant to do, no matter what. And I think that's just an easy way of finding what you're passionate about. It's what you're willing to give your whole heart to. It's that thing that you're willing to do, even if you weren't getting paid for it, would
Yeah.
you still do it? You know, would you put as much energy in it, even if no one offered you any money for it? You know, uh, that's how you can find out what your passion is. That's one way. I'm not saying it's the only way, but that's a real easy way to find out what you're passionate about. You know, and that doesn't cost you anything.
No.
You know, people pay all this money. Oh, can you help me find my passion? Help me find my passion, and it's already there. And is that what my passion is? Yeah, you already knew it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Sometimes people like, yeah, I'm trying to find my passion. I'm like, what is your passion? They're like, I don't even know.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. Like sometimes, you end up working at some company for such a long time. People forget what they're even passionate even about.
yeah,
They get stuck in that box for such a long, long.
stuck in it, and it takes your life away. And now you're not living, you're existing. There's a difference. You're just
Big,
existing.
big
You're just going through the motions, you know. But even say that you are on that job, you know, what are people saying about you? Man, no matter how the day is going, you're always a positive. You're always upbeat. Well, maybe that's the sign of something that you're passionate about. Hey,
Yes.
hey Sally, every time we have a carry-in, you always bring these beautiful cakes. Have you ever thought about opening up a bakery? That's probably could be your passion, you know, but it was never, no one ever affirmed it, and you never everybody's called it out, you know. And sometimes you can't, I think also you can go through your life and not really discover what your passion is because no one's ever told you. And sometimes it takes somebody from the outside affirming um, what you are, and who you are, and the giftings that you have on the inside of you to come forth. You know, sometimes it takes someone on the outside recognizing that
Yeah.
if you can't
And
recognize it yourself.
that's so funny that you bring that up because like I've been going through this amazing life transformation coaching in San Diego, California called Hardcore Leadership. And I never knew my passion was to like interview people and having conversations with them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing
Man,
this. It's
you're
like
doing a great
literally, I had somebody tell me, hey man, you should do a podcast. I'm like, I kind of laugh like, yeah, right. Really? I stutter. I'm not going to do a podcast. And then I had a couple more people. I had about a dozen people like, dude, you're so good at talking to people. You should do a podcast. I'm like, you know what? I had like a dozen people tell me this. Okay, so obviously people see something that I didn't see. So you know what? I'm gonna do a podcast. I've never done one in my life, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. So it's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of times in life, I believe everything happens in our life for a reason. And a lot of times, we don't listen, being a guy especially, we don't always listen to our intuition. It's like literally things come to our life all the time and we don't always open our eyes and see it, but it's literally right in front of us. We just have to open ourselves up and listen to it. It's like, wow, you know what? Okay. Just like you mentioned, it's like, maybe you work at a company and every year you make these amazing cupcakes and people are like, oh my God, literally you make the best cupcakes. People are saying this for a reason. Maybe you should listen to like, okay, you know what? People love my cupcakes. Maybe I need to start selling cupcakes,
yes.
whatever it might be. Maybe you're really good at consulting people about like, maybe Instagram or their Facebook or whatever it might be. Maybe you're really good at detailing cars. Maybe you should start like a mobile detailing company. There are people who make a lot of money doing that.
Yes,
And if it's something you're seriously passionate about, you can do something, you make really good money and it's something you enjoy doing. You don't have to be stuck in a 9 to 5 every single day that you're miserable at. You really don't have to be that, which is amazing.
yeah. Well, because that atmosphere is not designed to bring out your passion. Again, they're paying you for a service, and that's all they want you to is for that service. But if you can discover what your passion is, then you can start living.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and sometimes people don't realize it's like you get stuck at a company. Like, for example, I worked at a company for a long time. One of my good buddies and I, we discovered a way that we could save our company over $1 million. And what I discovered was that I think my boss at the time was upset that we found a way to save money for the company and he wouldn't present it to his managers because he thought, wow, if I present this to them, they might think I'm not the best manager or why didn't I come up with this idea? People are always so worried about themselves. They don't think, you know what, being a leader everyone that we work with can be a leader, and we can inspire other people. We don't have to worry about, well, this person makes me look they don't make me look good. So you know what? I don't want to share this information with other people. We can all uplift each other, and it's a total win for everybody. It really, really is.
A total win for everyone. Because a real leader doesn't worry about who gets the credit.
Exactly.
In the game, is it one person that won the game? Even the water boy gets the Super Bowl ring.
Yes.
Even those that are sitting on the bench, that don't get on the field at any time because they're a team.
Yeah, I just heard a story just recently, for the LA Rams, their guy who cleans the lockers, he does such an amazing job. They absolutely love him. So the team decided to buy a round trip ticket, put his son and him in a nice hotel, and he gets like front row seats to the Super Bowl. I mean, like, how amazing is that? Every single person a part of the team, they make a big impact in some way. Everyone brings something to the table. It's a win-win for everybody. Everyone is important.
Yes, everyone is important. They all win.
Yeah. And I hope that they win today.
I hope so too, man.
What's one great thing you like people to take away from this episode?
Great question. I think the one great thing that I would like for everyone to take away is, don't make failure your focus. Don't make that the focus of your life. Focus on winning. Focus on what can I get out of this situation? What can I learn? How is this going to better me in this situation? I think that if I can just encourage, someone to change their thought pattern from a losing mentality to a winning mentality, that it doesn't matter where you grew up, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter who said no. What does matter is what do you think about yourself, and who you are. Let your grind speak for itself. You don't have to brag on yourself. Let your work ethic speak for itself. Get up tomorrow and make a conscious decision on how you're going to manage those 24 hours for that day. Don't give your whole day to your job. What are you going to do for yourself to make you a better person? I think that if you can take that away from this talk that we had on today, I think you'll become a better person. I know for me, after this podcast, I feel like a better man.
Good. I love it.
That would be it.
Thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate you. You're a great man.
Thank you, Johnny, for having me on. Until next time, all we do is win.
Johnny here. Thank you for listening to the Power of Your Voice podcast. I'd love to get your feedback on this episode and how it impacted you. If someone in your life could benefit from this episode, share it with them. Check out thepowerofyourvoice.com to read show notes, leave a comment on the blog page, and to stay updated on all future episodes, subscribe to this podcast and leave a 5-star review. Thank you for your love and support.